VV deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will get this ready to go. We have Pete Ingram on the bottom on Izzet Cauldron, not to mere mid-range. And then Jason up top on a spicy deck. I mean, 4 High Noons is saying one thing. You came to beat the Cauldron decks. But hey, Pete Ingram, an incredibly accomplished player. You know, I mean, he has won so many events on the Star City Games level. He's made it to the pro scene, had some solid results there. Really a shark, you know?
Yeah, Pete's a good friend of mine. I can't gas him up too much. You know?
Yeah.
I can't have him going back to the video and being like, ha ha ha, Jim's gassing me up. But,
no,
Pete's great.
I have to gas him up because 2 of his SCG wins were team events where we were together. So gassing him up is kind of, helping me out as well here. So he hard carried in both of those events for what it's worth.
Yeah, Pete was one of the original members of Team MGG, my team on the SG Tour many years ago. So left to work at Wizards of the Coast where he does some design work, and now he's back playing.
Yep, absolutely. Kind of does it all here. So High Noon is in play. We are now living under that world of High Noon. And believe it or not, the Izzet Cauldron deck does not work so well when a High Noon's in play. But it's not completely shut off for what it's worth.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool how this deck functions. So this flash deck, it intends to play on your opponent's turn with these counter spells and flash threats. When you're able to play a spell on your turn and play a spell on your opponent's turn every turn cycle, you're breaking the parity of High Noon. This is not just High Noon as a hate card. This is High Noon as a deck building piece.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool to say.
It really is cool. Really what it shuts down is those absurd turns. The Cauldron VV turns where you do something that looks like, you're playing Modern instead of Standard. That is off the table. Now it is just... we can just scribble out the Izzet Cauldron. It's an Izzet mid-range deck when High Noon is here versus an Azorius control deck. We'll put in air quotes.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, because Jason's playing so many creatures, there aren't that many supers in this deck. There's a couple split-ups, but there's, no Ultima or Day of Judgment. So if it comes down to a creature battle, the sizing that Pete can produce with Prophetic Memory and stuff, it could be very, very relevant here.
Yep, absolutely. And the funniest thing here, or the most interesting thing, I would say, about Jason's list, we see a mountain there. There are no red cards. The red cards that are in the deck are what you're looking at. High Noon activation. I mean... 5 times 4, Jim. Do you want to double check me? How much damage does that deal?
When I first started playing Magic, I saw the card Lava Axe.
Yeah.
And I was like, this card's got to be broken, right? You just play 4 of these and you win.
And you were right.
You don't have to attack. You don't have to block. You don't have to do anything else. Just go Lava Axe, Lava Axe, Lava Axe, Lava Axe. Easy game.
And that's still true, right?
Yeah.
Now, this mountain is kind of biting Jason because I did see an Aven Interrupter in hand, which is a little awkward, I must say. It is a Fabled Passage mana base as well, so yet that one mountain isn't the biggest deal, but we're seeing it be a little bit of a cost as we speak.
Yeah, for sure. We see Mystic Monastery in play also as the other red source.
Yeah.
An interesting question to ask yourself of how many red sources am I willing to play with these High Noons? How worth it is it to have the 5 damage? And with the creatures, it makes sense. You want to get some early damage in. If you can go end step sack High Noon, or my turn sack High Noon, it's a lot of damage.
I mean, it really is. And, I mean, the thing is, this deck counts by 5s pretty easily. When you get a Stoic Sphinx down, you get a couple hits in with that, it's not out of the realm for High Noon to be able to do some damage. So this is, we were saying there were no decks in the other category. Well, we saw Azorius Control. This is another deck. This is not a traditional blue-white control deck. So if this is our only other deck, Jason, I'm rooting for you. This is cool. There is Fabled Passage as land number 4. Untapped Plains coming in. I would be pretty sure of that.
Yeah, kind of a bummer for Pete here, not really having much to do on his turn. I mean, there's some instant speed stuff in Peter's deck, but mostly removal into the Floodmaw, a Braid. So not being able to utilize, it's really, really important to make sure, hey, I only have one spell per turn. I got to make it count.
Yeah, it could be the end step into the Floodmaw on High Noon. That could be what we're trying to kind of line up here, and that would make a lot of sense. And then go off. Maybe Pete didn't have the most busted thing he could do with only 2 mana and could think, hey, with 5 mana, I can do some real damage, but want to wait for that end step bounce. That being said, Jason's deck is just really fully prepared to counter that. So you were right. It looks like nothing, just a cycle of the Mako.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see here. So we see a lot in these VV versus whatever deck matchups, about sizing being really important. And the more controlling matchups, just bodies are important. You just have a few Grizzly Bears in play, and you cast them, they counter it, attack for 4. casting the counter it, attack for 4. And this chip shot damage really adds up because the game's going to go long.
Totally agree with you. And here is quite the combo. Like, I don't know if Jason's going to do it. Jason does have it available, and it is an Aven Interrupter with High Noon in play. That is just not fair and very mean.
Gonna let it resolve.
Yeah, gonna let it resolve. No interrupting yet. And one Profs counter on the way. I think Jason also has... Oh, man. We might be about to see a train wreck here. Do you think Pete's going to play around Stoic Sphinx, Jim? Do you think Pete knows what Stoic Sphinx does?
No.
I wouldn't either, to be fair. I mean, I wouldn't play around it. Like, this is not an open deckless tournament. You got to look at that one and be like, yeah, what on earth can you do? This is just a blowout here.
That's certainly a Peter.
For our established pro here, Pete Ingram.
Does put an enchantment in the graveyard.
True.
So there's a little silver lining there. But
we got 3 to Delirium. But now, I mean, the other piece, like, Jason could just leave this back, sit on counter spells over and over. I also saw a 3 steps ahead in Jason's hand. So at any point, Pete gets to play as one spell. Jason can go, if we can get one more mana, counter plus make a copy of Stoic Sphinx, like, ugh.
Yeah, even just like, say go, I play a spell, counter it, attack. Say go, I play a spell, counter it, attack. Just do that 3 times and the game's over.
Yeah.
And High Noon doesn't allow Pete. Usually how you play around counter spells is you bank up, try and find a turn where you can make their mana awkward, and try and overload and play a few spells at once. Because the spells you're casting are typically cheaper than these 3 steps ahead kind of counter spells. That's not an option with High Noon in play.
Yeah. Has Jason done it? Has he found is it Cauldron Slayer? I mean, the more this is playing out, the more this looks rough for Pete.
It's just kind of cool because, like, it's just kind of cool deck building,
Oh, it's very cool.
This is not just I'm playing Rest in Peace in my deck, I'm playing a main deck hate card. It's a card that is fundamentally good against Vivi, but structurally to this deck is doing a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, because, I mean, you think about it now. What if Pete has 3 into the Flood Maws in hand? It doesn't matter. You still can't get High Noon off the battlefield as you can't, cast multiples of them. Really, really spicy thing. So Pete going for the Winter Night Stories flashback here, and I like this. We have creature enchantment in the yard. If we can discard land, instant, whatever, then all of a sudden FOMO goes up to 6 power, attacks, again, goes up to 9 power, could win the game. Now, I don't think that's really going to work like that, but it is an option.
Jason does have a lot of cards in hand. Jason's removal suite is interesting. Battle menu into the Flood Maw. That's really it, actually. There's not a lot of removal in this deck.
Have you forgot about the classic staple?
Sorry.
Werefox Bodyguard, Jim.
Did you know that Werefox Bodyguard's an elf?
It's also a fox.
Yep.
And a knight.
It's an elf, though. Mono white elf removal spell.
A flash Oblivion Ring style of effect is very interesting. Wow, is this just working here? They're split up? Wait a minute.
Oh, no. Jason, not like this.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so he still has the ability to not die here. He can just go 3 steps ahead, copy a Stoic Sphinx, and chump block. But, I think if Jason would have realized this, he would have much rather just countered that Winter Night Stories, right?
I was surprised when he didn't.
Yeah, I thought for sure there was a removal spell, and he was kind of hook, line, and sinkering here for Pete. But, yeah, I mean, to be fair, it looks like Jason does still have Split Up in hand, so this copy should block the second one.
But now that opens up into the Flood Maw for Peter on either the Sphinx or the High Noon, because that's going to be Jason's 1 spell for turn. So,
yeah, but Peter's already cast a card.
I mean, for
next turn. Yep, you got it. You got it.
So with High Noon in play, the rules of Magic change. It's just you have 1 spell a turn. So if you can min-max that to always play a spell on your turn or your opponent's turn, it's a big deal.
Ooh, big misstep there from Jason. You always block it the second time. It's always going to be bigger. It looks like we blocked it the first time. Unless maybe they shortcutted, we don't know exactly what they said at the table.
Jason being a 2 makes me think you're correct.
Yep, and that's a big deal. Now you can only activate, if you have like Starting Town or something, only once. But looks like we're going to start this off with a split up. Probably choose tap creatures.
Don't misclick that one. Oh, yeah. Boy.
See a little snarl there from Pete. Doesn't love that.
Yeah, there it is.
Able to bounce that. does that instead of bouncing the high noon. So now it looks like Pete has this game all wrapped up if he can put a Tursa into play. Some hasty threat. 3 mana would be what Pete wants to be doing here. Ooh, wrong one.
Still good, though.
Still very good.
The thing is that, Pete has some Abrades in his deck. He has the 4 into the Flood Maw. So now the Sphinx's window's kind of closed, right?
Yeah.
Now Pete has threats in play. Jason's at 2, needs to answer. The high noon is kind of keeping Jason from doing multiple things at once.
Exactly.
And if Jason ever wants to cast the Sphinx, Pete will have mana available to deal with it. And yeah, things are looking pretty good.
Yep.
Mana, of course, advantage being a big deal here, too. Controlled deck does not want to miss as many land drops.
Yep, very true, very true. And I think everything unraveled from that Stories play. If you just counter that, things look a lot different. That FOMO does not get the counters, and it doesn't have Delirium.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, it's just a 2-3, and instead of just taking 1 billion like you just took, let's see, 11 to 2, you just took 9. It would instead, you took 2, and you go to 9, and you untap. You still probably get the Stoic Sphinx bounce, sure, and the game looks completely different and much better for Jason.
Well, the thing is that Jason never needs to cast Spellbound.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the next turn. I'm sorry. I'm like,
yeah.
wait, 1 spell turn, Pete. But yeah, that'll do it.
They played fast, and the second hasty threat gets it done. You see a little bit of an eyebrow raise there from Pete's, thinking, yep, turn 2 high noon, still got it done. He's got to be feeling pretty good about that one. So looking at the sideboard here, we're going to start with Jason's really cool take here on this Azorius control-ish style deck. We have 2 Authority of the Councils. Oh, my goodness. 2 Biza, 2 Cathar Commandos, 2 Crystal Barricades, 2 Exercise, 1 Lyra Dawnbringer. Yep, guess that one's still legal. 2 Negate, and 2 Reenact the Crime. Those are a lot of cards I have not read out in a while, Jim. What are we bringing in?
Is Reenact the Crime the blue? It is.
It sure is.
It's like the reanimated thing casts or something.
Yes. Let me pull this
I'll
up
the plan
here.
with that card. That's sweet. But yeah, I mean, Exercise makes sense. It's the way to deal with Cauldron and larger creatures. But there's not much else here, honestly. It feels like most of the hate's in the main deck. You know. Other than that, I think the main plan is probably just where you're at.
You don't want to bring in the Authorities?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only haste creature is the Tursa. I guess no open deck lists. It's a little annoying at Stories, I suppose, too, a few points of life here and there. But you can't really afford to have that many prison pieces in your deck,
Yeah.
You just have too many Authorities and High Noons or whatever. You're just not going to do anything and just die to Grizzly Bears.
That is very true. I think there's some, value in a couple things. Number one, your Quantum Riddlers have to come into play tapped, so you can't be doing any, flashing back from the graveyard, harmonizing with Winter Night Stories. And most lists played Draconautics Engineers, so it would shut that down. But I agree. I mean, that is a card you can just attack through pretty effectively.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then from Pete's side, we have 1 Abrade, 2 Annul, 1 Broadside Barrage, 2 Fire Magic, 1 Negate, 2 Obliterating Bolts, 1 Quantum Riddler, 2 Spell Pierces, and 3 Torch the Towers. What do you like?
I think the most important thing on Pete's side is being able to make sure that he can play at instant speed.
Yeah.
Being able to make sure that, again, I guess Pete doesn't know there's 4 main deck High Noons. We know there is. I mean, we saw one on turn 2 there, but being able to play at instant speed, break that parity, be able to play 2 spells per turn cycle, and be able to have not that many removal spells, but the right removal spells. We saw Stoic Sphinx there. If that thing gets going when Jason's ahead, it can be really nasty. But with the right spell lined up at the right time, it can be pretty awkward. These creatures aren't, Aven Interrupter, Werefox Bodyguard, not very large creatures.
No, definitely not.
So I think some instant speed stuff. Maybe like a Broadside Barrage, some of these, maybe some removal spells. Things at instant speed. Torch Tower seems fine here too, honestly, to kill smaller creatures. So make sure you're playing instant speed. Make sure you're not too soft to High Noon. Go from there.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so before we get into our next game, let's thank one of our sponsors here. Big shout out to Beckett. You want to get any of your cards graded, they're actually doing a bit of a sale. It's going to go all the way until midnight on Sunday, so effective until Monday. You can get 15% off all card grading services with promo code STARCITY. So go to www.beckett.com/submit/cards/service if you want to get any of these really nice cards graded and protected. So gotta love that, Jim.
Is it weird that I have a weird desire to want to get like a really beat up card graded?
Just like the lowest value card you've ever seen.
Like I have a Soul Ring from when I first started playing Magic.
Yeah.
That is like destroyed.
Yeah.
It isn't like it's like possibly sleeve playable, but about as bad as a sleeve playable card could be.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get that graded.
Okay.
Let's see, where's it gonna be? Like a 3, a 2, a 5? Like what's a 1?
Just to check it out.
Like is a 1
Yeah.
like just the ashes of a card that's on fire, or like what is a 1? Like I'm just curious.
See, I want to try to get like just a basic land that's just from the land bin graded, and just see the look on their face. Be like, yeah, I guess we can, bro. Like, whatever. But all right. Big thanks to Beckett though, and make sure to check out that special if you are interested in getting some of your, let's say, real cards graded, unlike Jim and I's.
My Soul Ring's real. What do
All
you
right,
mean?
yours is much more real.
It's a
I'll
collectible.
give you that. Yeah.
It's revised.
I'm thinking Jason's Island. That's what I want to just like. Let's get this in a protective case immediately. Fabled Passage fetches on an island, and Pete goes with a canal and passes it back.
Fabled Passage is a card that it's interesting. It was a big deal in the mana bases of the decks during the Fire Design era of Eldraine. First time it came out, and that is not really a big deal in the current format at all because the lands are just a lot better.
Yeah. Yep. I would totally agree. Absolutely would agree here. And looks like Jason's just got a land pass and no High Noon this time around. Pete did have 2 Spell Pierces in the yard. Not sure if he had one, but might have been ready this time around. No More Lies takes care of Prof's Eidetic Memory. A great card. Low key, your game 1 plan in a lot of matchups from the Cauldron side, I'm like all in on VV Cauldron stuff. Most of the time you're not playing against main deck, High Noon decks for what it's worth. But post-board games, Profs is just your best card most of the time. As decks slow down, put more interaction, that kind of thing. Prof gets even better, and it's already amazing.
Yeah, it's the perfect Plan B card.
Yeah.
Such a low opportunity cost. FOMO on the stack. Let me interrupt you there for a moment.
Okay, please do. FOMO gets interrupted
Interrupt you there for
now.
a moment.
And we're going to... setting you up again, but all right.
I don't need to be set up to interrupt you, right?
Okay, thank you.
More than capable.
And no land 3 here from Pete. That's a little brutal.
So to be clear, that FOMO is now plotted.
Plotted.
So in theory, it can be played for free. But there's also text on the interrupter saying that spells that are cast from exile cost 2 more. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hey, interrupter.
I believe you did that wrong. Amazing. That's a new soundbite for your stream for sure. I love it. All right. Here is the 2 mana Fear of Missing Out. And, man, if you ever get Aven interrupted again and you have to pay 4 mana for this, I mean, it's over.
Yeah, they do stack very, very well. And they also work like with and against cards that just happen to play from exile. Like a random adventure card or something like that. Or Quantum Riddler or Warp card. So
just a good card. And, I mean, the application when you're playing with High Noon, it's excellent. So opt on the end step. Looks like opt number 2.
That's all of them.
Just 2 ops, huh?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, that's the perfect number, it would seem. I mean, to be fair, if you are playing the 4 High Noon deck, you don't want a lot of cantrips.
Yeah. there's a lot of deck building restrictions when it comes to that card.
Yeah.
A lot of things, like if we were playing that card in a while for Domain, and you don't want to play Analyze the Apollo in your deck when you're playing multiple High Noons.
No.
Yeah.
You do not.
Very
you
similar
do not.
cantrip.
Yeah, and I remember that even the last event we were playing. It was like the High Noon deck in the main. I think it was Matt Nass who came down, and just the High Noon was actually brutal for him. So it is a universal effect that sometimes can backfire for sure.
Yep. There's that mountain getting ready. It's fun for Pete's side because, again, the closed deck list, Pete doesn't know if there aren't, Lightning Helixes or whatever else in this deck.
Yeah.
In Game 1, Pete saw Mystic Monastery and a mountain. So as far as Pete's concerned, this is just got control.
We even saw a look on his face like, God, what is a mountain for? And I played a lot of Magic with Pete. I'm sure it is just like, God, should I know what kind of Jeskai deck this is? And no, you shouldn't, Pete. This is a very, very interesting take for sure. Always fun to see players kind of adjust on the fly to a new deck like this, and I'm sure Jason got a couple free game wins in this tournament by players just not knowing what he's doing at all.
That's why I love closed deck lists.
Love it.
I just love both the feeling of bringing a deck that's kind of weird off the beaten path and watching your opponents squirm. And even from Pete's side here of like just trying to figure out on the fly, okay, this weird stuff's happening here. If I was playing high unit Avid Interrupter, what other cards would I have in my deck?
Exactly.
You know, and trying to figure out the list on the fly it's just so much fun.
I love it too, especially, you know, selfishly for watching coverage. You know, I think it is more interesting with like transformational sideboards, that kind of thing. But then also when I'm playing, I have a horrible memory. So trying to remember all these one-ofs and stuff, I just give it up. You know, I'll be like, whatever. I'll just play my game and hope for the best. Winter Night Stories on the stack here. Going to discard 2 cards here, maybe locking up Delirium if you want to. Delirium, not that important right now. You're not doing too much here. 2 extra damage. You know, there's the Restless Anchorage on the other side that just prevents you from getting 2 attacks in anyways.
Well, that is Delirium, creature and artifact.
That is indeed Delirium. And didn't have to discard that Cauldron, so that was a true, I wanted to get Delirium here.
Here comes the Bodyguard.
See, Bodyguard the last time we boosted up our fear of missing out would have just been backbreaking. That was the card that Jason needed last turn to deal with that FOMO that hit so hard.
And now we're seeing that kind of classic Azorius Flash game, just like, all right, end step, play a thing, deal with your thing, attack. Now my counter spells are up. Now you're behind, and now you're really hooking. The Soulstone Sanctuary has a bit of a wrench in that, though.
Yeah?
It's a 3/3, and the problem with these creatures is they're all pretty small. They're only 2/2s.
That is true. One does fly, which is not so bad, but yeah, if you're playing against the traditional air quotes Azorius Flash deck, Pete's just thinking, God, please no Archangel Avacyn. just end it right away. That was an incredible deck in its time for sure. All right, so we see Profs, Mako, Winter Night Stories, Riddler, into the Flood Maw. So Pete's got a hand. Pete's got some good stuff. Just behind on the battlefield and has to figure out the best way to be able to just put cards on the battlefield and start to stop the bleeding. Prevent this kind of bleeding that is just happening over and over. And with that anchorage, Jason is pretty close to just being able to win this game straight up.
Trying Profs again. You know, when a Flash player is ahead like this, the ball's in their court.
Yes, and these are the type of cards that you say, you got it.
Right.
It's a 2-mana cantrip right now that if you don't have a creature in play, doesn't really matter. Like now, if Jason has another Aven Interrupter, you can definitely hit this one. That being said...
Too obvious. I saw you felt it coming.
It was good. You know, no, you nailed it. You nailed it. But now you do have the option to use that into the Flood Maw on the Bodyguard if you want to do it pre-combat. But I don't even know like how good that is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Bouncing Interrupter is not particularly good. Like Unsummon is pretty poor in this spot.
Yeah, because you can just take it again. You can just play that Werefox down next turn, eat the FOMO, and you got it, you know?
Yeah, I think the second Interrupter is really important here. Having 4 flying power is very important. The Flash decks, you know, they kind of play this tempo game, which is pretty sweet, but they're not a control deck. You can't afford the game to go forever because you are playing fundamentally weaker cards than the control deck. Ooh. Battle menu. That's got a lot of modes on it.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite cards here from Final Fantasy. Absolutely loved it. So let's see what we're doing. We're boosting the creature. We can destroy a creature. Probably that mode. But let's see. What else would you want to play? Just get a 2/2 maybe?
It doesn't seem relevant in the face of...
I mean, that was the only mode that was relevant with it on the stack. You can wait for FOMO to become a 4-power creature because it's about to be.
Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah. Did we just... Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. All right.
Our spotters to the rescue. 2 confused commentators floundering around, just no idea what's going on.
Exactly. But now, I mean, how good is this? This really tells me that Jason is trying to close this game out. That Jason sees a window here to just kind of take it down.
Yeah, it's weird because the Knight, I mean, you know the FOMO's coming back. The Prof is going off. The ground creature's going to be big either way. I mean, I guess it's funny because because it was cast, Pete played around it and put the counters on the Mako to have 2 creatures that are not 4 power but are also good blockers. You know?
Yeah, you think Pete was playing around battle menu? You think he just knew that was stock in Jason Roberts' deck?
I'm saying it's after he cast it.
Yeah.
So if he had not cast it in response, I think there's a chance the counters go on the FOMO.
Yeah.
You know,
totally agree. So you're saying you would not have cast it there?
Yeah, the 2/2 Knight doesn't feel very impactful here.
And if anything, you wait till your end step to do it.
Yeah,
You know, you always have the chance to do it. You worry about a Spell Pierce, I guess. That was what we were doing, but meh, you know.
Yeah. All right.
I did see Pete brought in a negate, and while that is a solid card against, some parts of the deck, there are so many creatures here that if Pete saw the whole deck list, do you think he'd still bring in negate?
No.
I don't think so either.
That's the strength of playing
Yep.
a rogue deck like this. You're forcing your opponents to figure it out on the fly, and they are not going to get it exactly right.
No chance.
And those little percentages here and there, dead negate here, weird sideboard it there, they add up.
You would see a very puzzled look on my face if I was sitting across from Jason as well here. A lot of head scratching.
You'd look on the screen and see Pete's puzzled face.
It would be the exact same face, I'll tell you that. All right, so let's see what we have here. One of the best cards Jason could have is a split up. Attack with the Interrupters. Split up for untapped creatures. Throw away the Knight. Still a very solid play if that was one of the options.
Yeah, but 2-turn clock in the air here is very important.
That's very, very tempting as well.
Although, Pete's got a board now.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad board.
I'm also wondering how many Cauldron VVs do you think were left in? All of them? I mean, we see a Cauldron in the yard, so it definitely wasn't a take out everything in anticipation of this 4 high noon main dot deck, but I wouldn't be too shocked to see him trim a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think shaving down feels like it's, almost like the default when you think your opponent's coming in for some serious hate.
Exactly.
That's the power of his deck.
Yeah.
You could just take the Cauldron VV out entirely. It would still be a good deck.
Exactly, yep. Me, I do not side out those cards very often. Even in the, the mirror, I think that's really where I side out the most. I would take out two VVs on the draw and none on the play. But outside of that, I'm like, this is a deck where I always want to maximize my busted thing I'm doing. And if your busted thing is getting hated out and you're not able to do it, you have so many ways to loot it away. I just leave in the good cards. Why not,
That is definitely part of the power of having this much looting.
Yes.
Being able to play conditional cards, play these, cards where you're not going to get stuck with them is huge.
Exactly. So here is the Warp on Quantum Riddler and Winter Night Stories to just have that beautiful combo. If you look at it like this, you just did 3 mana worth of stuff to draw 4 cards and discard 1. That card is called Brain Surge, and it's a modern staple. And I mean, all jokes aside, this sometimes can be better than that, which just shows how powerful this combo is and really makes sense to me why Quantum Riddler has really caught on as far as last weekend. We saw a lot of decks that were just playing 4 in the 75, and the stock on Quantum Riddler, believe it or not, has skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's also just a card that's awesome in scrappy games. Game gets ugly with hate pieces everywhere. It's just a really good on-rate card.
Yep,
just play
agreed.
it, draw some cards, huge flyer. We got, is that a refute?
That is a refute, I believe. Counter target spell, draw a card, and discard.
That's cool.
Looks like this might be a negate coming back. And Pete will know this works because of the way that Jason tapped. That gave away a lot of information here.
Yeah, we got white, red up. White.
Tap the mountain. Just tap the mountain,
All right.
Negate there. Still has the Werefox available as Jason's play, and then a stock up, but everything's looking great from Pete so far. And, man, I want to go back to that last turn. I think if Jason got that anchorage there, I guess then you can't play a single thing.
Yeah.
That is a little brutal.
With 7 mana, it's feeling a lot better.
Yeah. But then you do get to sack the map as well to put up a little defense, but you easily could just die. If Pete did the VV thing, the game could end, so I get it. But, man, it would look a lot better if Pete was at 6 here, huh?
There's a null discarded, a card that is, I guess, High Noon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was more targets for it. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I was only counting the Overlord, so.
Yeah, Pete saw the one target he needed there for a null. High noon is definitely the perfect thing. So the Werefox is still face-up information. Now Profs gets to target something. If you target the FOMO, you're automatically taking that, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You want to diversify a little bit here, you know.
But if you do put the 8 counters on Mako, you can't really attack with FOMO because you can just put the Werefox out, double block.
Yeah, the cuteness here is that even if the Fox dies, Mako comes back as a 1-1, not a 9-9.
Exactly.
So not too shabby.
But we didn't even wait to attack here. You could have, forced the action here if FOMO gets in here to untap.
Now,
and you can double block.
You'll still get an extra combat step.
You will, but this FOMO won't be around.
But the Mako will.
But the Mako will. That's very true.
So when Werefox dies, if a double block, if the double block doesn't happen, Jason takes 2, untap, do Profs again.
Yeah.
If the double block does happen, the Werefox dies, Mako comes back, and then second combat will happen. The Mako can't attack, but it will still get the counters from the Prof.
Okay, that is very true. Now, counterpoint. What if you take it, and then take it again, and then win the game on the crackback?
With Pete at 8, that does seem like a reasonable option. I mean, it can be take it, untap, say go.
It's still Jason wins.
Because
the anchorage here. So as long as Jason just says, hey, I take this, and then whatever, if you attack again, you lose. So, wow, this is Jason going to be able to pull out this game as long as we animate that anchorage.
Just looking for a Leroy.
Well, I mean, you have to animate first and then Leroy, right? Isn't Leroy just get in there, not think about anything?
I think just slamming some lands and firing up the anchorage is not. There's no thinking involved there. Just boom.
Okay, all right.
Or that.
That'll do as well. Into the Flood Maw, and there is the attack to get across the finish line. And I got to say, Game 1 looked like Jason had it wrapped up. Game 2 looked like Pete had it wrapped up. And that's not how either of these games ended up. So, God, I love Magic.
That's just good TV, you know?
That's just good television right there. Jim, any kind of changes we would make? I would think we might see changes from Pete, as in like, oh, I'm learning more about the deck.
Yeah, for sure. I think Torch Tower looks pretty nice here. It would have looked pretty bad after Game 1, where the only creature that we saw was the 5/3.
Yeah.
But now seeing all of these 2/2s everywhere, Torch looks a lot more appealing. And yeah, it's on Pete. This matchup is more of a puzzle for Pete, where Pete's deck is pretty obvious. Pete might as well have an open deck list.
Yeah.
And so Jason's played against Pete's deck a ton of times already. I'm sure the plan's pretty set. But for Pete, this is just let's just figure out what is going on here. I've just gotten a whole lot of new information. Now I can go back to the drawing board. I'm going to be on the play, figure out how I want to tailor my deck to play against this very unique-looking Azorius deck.
Yep, and from what I saw from a glance there, Pete is bringing in red cards and taking out blue ones, taking out into the Flood Maws and bringing in torches. Why bounce what you can kill? I really like it. Smart stuff there from Pete, and I would agree. If I can look at the deck list here, Torch looks a lot better than Into the Flood Maw, but Into the Flood Maw is better against traditional Azorius control. So there's those little things that this unknown deck list is doing some work here. So
it's also interesting, thinking about playing around High Noon. Flood Maw is the way to end step, bounce the High Noon, untap, go off and do your thing.
Yeah.
The problem is Flood Maw isn't really good anywhere else in this matchup. So if Pete,
exactly medium.
if Pete is saying, listen, I can win these High Noon games, I'll just play my game, make sure I have some instant speed things to do on your turn, and go from there.
Yep, totally agree with you. All right, before we get into this third and final game of the match, let's talk about the sale that Star City Games is offering. They're always giving away these fantastic sales. And this time around, sales almost always end on Sunday night, so right before Monday. That's going to be 5% off all singles. Keep it as easy as that. StarCityGames.com/sale if you are interested in any of that. You like sales? You a fan?
What about Bloomborough signals? Are those on sale?
Those are part of singles, yes.
What about Time Spiral
Even Interrupter.
signals?
Wait, did I get it wrong? Did I do the joke wrong?
Is that card also on sale?
Yeah, it's on sale. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, we'll get back to the match here.
Shuffling up. Shuffle and cut and ready to roll. All right, so Peter's in the play here.
All right, so here we go. Game number 3. Going to be some big games. What's your prediction for this? You got a hot take for this game?
I think Peter being on the play is pretty important.
Yeah.
Being able to, the flash decks, the flash decks are a little bit similar to Dimir in that, like, if you can get under them, their cards get a lot worse.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they have as much comeback potential. Dimir has all the removal spells, kind of the really big flash spells, Enduring Curiosity, whereas the bodies here on Jason's cards are a little small. So I think if Pete's off to a good start, things are a little messy, but there are split-ups. There are things that are wrenching that too. And again, there is this lack of knowledge that Pete has. Pete doesn't know what's in Jason's deck. Is there split up? Day of Judgment? Is there Pinnacle Stargate? Ultima?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Exactly.
So
It could be anything.
Right. So a lot of the pressure here is on Pete to be able to kind of figure things out on the fly.
Agreed. And Jason had a little bit of some awkwardness there. I saw a glimpse of his hand. It was the old double island, triple Aven Interrupter. I think there was a Werefox in there, but the classic 2 islands, 6 pips of white style of hand,
Yeah,
It gets a little awkward.
It makes me a little surprised to see the Fabled Passage Battle Abyss, where when you have this dual land that only taps for 1 color on either side, it makes it harder to play these double pip cards like Refute and Interrupter.
Yeah, so you would think like more Foundries, more duels kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, because, I mean, the one problem, no Steam Vents right now. That would go amazing in this deck. But, of course, Steam Vents would be even better in Izzet Cauldron, so maybe fair that we don't have that one, huh?
I think that, like, if you're playing Passage, which is often a tap land, just play 4 of the Azorius Survival land instead.
Oh, for sure.
Like, there are a lot of red sources. I didn't actually even notice the Sacred Foundries this time. There's 3 Sacred Foundry, 2 Mystic Monastery, and 1 Mountain. There are 6 plus Passage. There are 10 red sources in this deck for the activated ability on High Noon. That's commitment. That's commitment to the bit. I'm going to Lava Axe you. 5 damage. Taste it.
Jason is the hero that we all needed and deserved here. This is awesome. So, unfortunately, our hero is mulliganing down to 5 cards here, but looks solid. We have Split Up. We have Biza. We have 3 lands. Good enough, right?
Yeah, not bad for a 5.
Yeah, not bad at all. And Pete's hand didn't look amazing. It was solid. I saw like 4 lands and a Tursa. That's about all I glanced at, but this should still be able to compete.
I want to make it clear also that if Jason is the hero, Peter is definitely the victim. I mean, the villain, not the victim. Jeez. Villain.
Definitely the villain here. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the victim. We'll find out.
Maybe. We're going to find out for sure. All right, and there is a Sacred Foundry tapped, and a passes back.
FOMO.
One of my favorite cards in recent years. I love FOMO.
It really does everything.
It really does. It's like the 2025 Fable the Mirror Breaker.
Yep. This is the fun part of the Flash deck where, Jason's going to play a land pretty much every turn, just say go, and it's on Pete to figure out what is it.
Okay. So this is a spot where Jason has a consult the star charts and has a split up in hand, and there's going to be 2 tap creatures. So this could be great. The one choice Jason made here, though, that I want to make apparent before we see what happened, his lands were Foundry, Verge, and Fabled Passage. So his Fabled Passage is the only other land in hand right now, which could completely ruin his strategy here if we do not find an untapped land. But I'm pretty sure that was a High Noon that went to hand instead of the island.
I would be surprised.
It was. It totally was.
Oh, nope.
Well, we also have a High Noon, so it looks like we got High Noon and Island.
All right. Well, that works out great.
Got High Noon as in we consulted for it and then drew Island, which is impressive. Okay, but that was huge. Now Quantum Riddler gets warped. And Quantum Riddler gets warped. I only see 1 card going to hand, so warp those out of here.
Welcome to Warp Zone, Peter.
And now this is exactly where Jason wants to be at this stage of the game. Empty battlefield, a decent life total, nothing crazy going on here. For a multi-5, you can't really hope for anything more from Jason's side.
This is where the strength of the Riddler comes in, though.
Oh, yeah.
Where, imagine Pete's next turn is just land, cast Riddler. And the next turn is land, cast Riddler. Jason has to answer these things, but Pete's up on cards on every exchange. So Jason's already down on cards on the mulligans. That's why this card is so good.
Yeah.
It does the synergy thing. You know, yeah, you tap it to win internet stories, awesome. But it's just a good card when the games get scrappy, as they often do in post-board games.
And we keep talking about how this deck was played at the last Pro Tour, you know, when Monstrous Rage was around, Corey Steelcutter, all that kind of stuff. The one thing it didn't have was this. Quantum Riddler, I think, is the missing piece to just put this deck over the edge. So without Riddler and losing Thrill Seeker, I don't think this is as good of a deck. It's probably still the best deck, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, this really solidified it for me. And the first time you play with this, the first time you draw 2, and then you play a FOMO when you have 2 other cards in your hand, you discard one of them and you draw 2. The first time I did that, I just started adding Riddlers to my main deck in Sideboard. It's just so incredible as Biza comes down to gain 4 life and almost assuredly draw a card.
Yeah, pretty huge on the mulligan. This base is great for a number of reasons. It helps to unmulligan, helps draw a card, but it kind of stops what I was just saying, where if Basic comes in and now Base is attacking, Jason can answer these threats 1 for 1. Pete might be going up a card or 2 here or there, but Base is attacking.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of forward progress happening.
High noon, my friend.
Well, howdy, partner.
We are living in a high noon world, and Jason does have a Werefox as the other thing I saw for interaction, and now the game changes a bit. Pete has a Spell Pierce, a couple of lands, and Spell Pierce gets a lot worse when High Noon's in play, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and this is going to be cool. This is what I was saying, where hopefully Pete has altered his deck in a way where he can play on both players' turns and kind of play this High Noon game with Jason.
Yeah. So here is the thing. Profs is going to be great. This Riddler is going to become a 5/7, but with a Werefox dealing with it, and then you protect it on your own turn, like, looks great for Jason. But that being said as well, Riddler underneath this style of creature is a liability.
Yeah, and this is where what I was saying. If Pete is able to play on Jason's turn, fire some removal spells, force out some counter spells, that's going to be cool, but you're right. The game is shifting a lot. 6 damage a turn is huge.
And, I mean, let's get real. We're at 5 less here if we're Pete. We're at 9 right now. I mean, just talk about the, power creep of Lava Axe.
Don't talk about my boy like that, right?
I'm sorry.
Don't do Lava Axe dirty in front of me, okay?
Hey, I'm sorry. I take it back. Lava Axe is still the greatest card in Magic.
14-year-old Jim would be very upset with you.
I know.
To be fair, my other hot take when I was 14 with my 7th edition starter kit was the Counterspell was the best card of all time.
Yeah.
Because it can answer any card, even itself.
Wow.
That one holds up pretty good.
That one does hold up pretty good,
So I just brush my shoulders off a little bit.
Young Corey was playing 85-ish card decks before Yorion was a thing, just because I was like, why not just play more good cards?
Yeah.
So, we were on equal footing here, I think.
Yeah. My 4 Lava Axe, 4 Counterspell deck, yeah. Gotta get you.
The ultimate is-it deck. Yeah. You were ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Scholar on the stack, then the stack will be empty. So the ability, odd timing.
Doesn't really matter because Pete can't play spells anyway, so.
True, but that does change how he wants to discard. But
Sure.
I think Pete's hand is 4 land, Spell Pierce, and a Scholar. Vomit. That hand is horrendous for how much he's looted. And it looks like Jason Roberts on Azorius Control, in air quotes here, we don't even know what to call this. It's in Azorius Other for sure, is poised to be doing some good work here on a mull to 5 on the draw up against the boogeyman of the format and in the hands of a great player.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I'm kidding. Pete's great. Pete's excellent.
I'm going to go tell Pete exactly what you said after this, okay?
I'll tell him.
Okay. That's a good friend. So we're down to 8, which is an effective 3 with High Noon.
Yeah, Pete not being able to play a spell here on Jason's turn is backbreaking, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Pete's drawn really, really bad these last few turns.
And it did look like Pete did side out a lot of, the Into the Flood Maws, but, Into the Flood Maw would be good. It wouldn't be backbreaking because you could just block with the Riddler, but it doesn't kill Biza even, so here comes another Scholar, and, man, if there's a counterspell here, we are done.
Yeah, the red spells came back in, so some sort of Torch Tower or something like that could be pretty important. This is a All right, a big resolve here for Peter. 2 fresh cards. Again, Peter is desperately looking for anything with the word instant on it, so Pete can play 2 spells a turn cycle.
Well, I mean, there's plenty in Jason's graveyard. You can just spot them out. You know, you can just say those are some instants. Is that not what you meant, Jim?
That's not what I meant.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
2 props gets discarded. Oh my God, this is really tough.
Oh no. And let's see. There is battle menu to be able to deal with the Scholar. 6 damage is in play. Oh, we're getting a 2/2 instead. I love it. Oh, battle menu, the all-star.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think that. I mean, this is another removal spell here, but either way, I think with the high unit play, this is a tough spot because now Jason draws land 6, the game is over, and Jason's already ahead too.
Yeah, I mean, destroying the creature felt safer to me, but whatever. Both of them get it done in this scenario.
Right, because once Pete's goes to 5 or below,
there's nothing he can do, right?
Pete's deck has no way to remove high noons.
I mean, to be fair, Tidebinder is a card, and it's not out of the realm to have that in a deck list here. Remember, closed deck list. Oh, and that is it. That is the hand. Jason Roberts takes it down with a deck firmly in the other category, and really, really impressive to